welcome you all to another edition of the New Jack Swing podcast with myself, Stevie Street, and Sheldon Taylor. How you guys doing?
Check 1 2, check 1 2, mic check 1 2. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. Oops. So I've just seen that we've got our group in, and you can tell how. Yes, I mean this is probably one of our would be one of our most favorite ones here because all of us would say that we are massively inspired by Mr. King of New Jack Swing, Mr. Teddy Riley himself, and to be able to dedicate an episode on just his top tens. To me, actually found it much harder than I thought it was going to be. So I don't know. Sheldon, how you doing? We haven't heard from you.
It's hard for you.
Yeah, it was. Well. I mean, I think it was easy to do.
Doing well.
You're doing good. Well done. Yeah, it was easy for me to get my top five. Okay. Much love from Chicago. Yeah, guys. As you come in, let us know where you're from because it's great to know that everyone's coming from all over the place. Yes, Mac, well done. But Luzana. Oh my goodness. The whole, greeting out those who are joining in. We definitely appreciate you guys coming in because it makes the show always. So definitely. Welcome to everything, Big Mike. How you doing? Everyone's got your list. Chin Beats, welcome.
Better tell them the rules, Namdi. This top 10. Tell them the rules.
Well, so the rules today is that we're not doing any Teddy Riley remixes. It's just the productions that he's done. But we could feature Chin Beats from Chicago. We could feature songs like "Dog Me Out," which he did. There was a remix version of it, but there'll be no sort of like "I'm So Into You" or "Love Is Strong" and stuff like that. Big Mike's out locally in Birmingham. Yes. Curious for now. Okay. Yeah, guys, welcome. As I said, just let us know where you're calling, where you guys are based, because it's good to know where everyone is calling from. So it's a family, and we're doing this weekend every weekend, so it's good to be able to know where the family is coming from. DC. We got Big Mike from out in Birmingham locally here. So, Sheldon, how hard was it to do this for you? Sheldon, you there?
Sheldon's is
frozen. Yeah, I think Sheldon, you are you there, Sheldon? Yeah, no remixes. Yeah, because we want to be with every. Okay. Yeah, the reason why we're not doing any remixes because if you remember, we did LA and Babyface, we did Jimmy and Terry, we did all straight productions with them. So Teddy's got over 400 or 500 tracks that he's produced. We're going to have a separate episode with just remixes, so that's going to be something much different. So we want to be able to save that for a different episode.
I believe Teddy Riley actually saw your IG story status. Namdi.
Yes, he did.
Episode, so hopefully you might watch it back at some point. Teddy, are you ready? Because we're ready.
Yeah. So as I said, we are going to be doing a separate episode with remixes because if you think about the remixes, there's a thought that actually Teddy's remixes were much better than originals. So we want to
save your remix till next week.
Yeah, save it to next week. We're actually going to do that next week, so that's going to be a different one. Sheldon, hopefully you're able to join us live, Sheldon, without the delay.
He looks like he's struggling.
It feels as if Sheldon is frozen.
Can you hear?
So he may have to
hear me. I can hear you.
Yeah, it's hey, what's up, Colin? Hey, Colin's driving. Be careful with that, Colin. Sheldon, it seems as if the signal's lagging in and stuff. So I don't know if you want to, go on the phone again, but because it just seems like you're in and out. Yeah, it looks like you're freezing, Sheldon. So while we wait for Sheldon to come back in, Stevie, any music news just while we wait for Sheldon to come back?
Well, while we're on the subject of Teddy, there's he's been involved in a new release over the weekend. Apparently from I think it's his nephew, called Fresh. He's got a new EP album out, and there's a track featuring Teddy on it, using his vocoder. I think he's produced it as well. It's got a bit of M2 made Juicy Fruit beat going up, speeded up. It's got a bit of G-funk groove to it, and then it's got Teddy's vocoder. The rapper sounds... Who does this rapper sound? He sounds a bit like Jermaine Dupri. He's a very young guy, though. Very young guy. It's very... I was looking at the cover of the project. It's all very bling. It's all very bling rap. So,
okay.
But, it's got, for that Teddy vocoder talk box, bit of magic. It's very good. Yeah. Nice to see Teddy out with something musically, because I know he doesn't do much these days. You always get a couple of releases every year, but hopefully there'll be more to come. Maybe he's getting back in the studio now.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Yeah. Okay, so we've been trying to get Teddy on the show for since it started. He's about to release a podcast series on Cyrus Radio, and he says this is sort of his answer to his way of sharing his stories behind some of the songs. Maybe he's seen interviews with, say, Timmy Gatlin and Damien and others, and he wants to be able to just to set his record straight. So and clear up some of the stuff that's happened in other podcasts. So I think once he gets that out the way, we're probably going to be able to. Because he's told everyone that he right now he wants to get his interview out. So yeah. So Sheldon, looks as if a lot of people aren't happy that the remix is included this week, and I think that's unfair for Teddy if he's going to be known for his remixes more than his straight up productions. And so we are going to have a complete episode just on the remixes, which actually should be more fun because it's. I think that was one of the issues with the Verses, where he was doing remixes of songs that he didn't really produce, and people were saying, "Look, Ted, you've produced a lot better tracks. You didn't necessarily need to focus on the remixes." But anyway, that's to be seen. But how hard was it? We're just waiting for Sheldon to come back in. But how hard was it to do this for you, Stevie, to narrow down top 10?
You have to look at the history of his productions. You've got the Gene Griffin era, the late 80s. You could say from 87 to up to about 1990. You've got the sound that he made then while he was being managed by Gene Griffin. And there's a lot of amazing stuff. Then a lot of my top 20 tonight features a lot of the GR. I'll be honest, features a lot of the GR production era.
Okay.
And then you've got the sound that he came with after 1990. That was probably just before, because you've got the GR Productions era, then you've got the Jane Child up to the Michael Jackson era, which was 90 to 92, and then after that he went to Virginia, didn't he? So then you've got everything, say, from 93 onwards, which again the sound changed. So from say 93 up to say 96, 97. So you've got 3 different eras of Teddy Riley, and I know that there'll be listeners here tonight who'll be for that, strictly here for, like I am, for that early Teddy GR production sound. There'll be listeners here for who prefer the mid-90s R&B, like your Men of Visions and things like that sound, your Blackstreet. And then there's that in between, you'll get the crossover section, which was, like you say, your Michael Jacksons, your Jane Childs, which they might have heard of him from. So it's, I suppose, really in your top 20, I suppose it's really, if you followed him from say 87, maybe even early, from 87 right up to the late 90s, then your top 20 or your top 10 is going to be an overview of that. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure we're going to get it all covered tonight, like we have with the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
So see, it'll be interesting to see what we've got tonight.
Okay.
Sheldon, are you back with us, sir?
Yeah, I'm good now. I had to switch over to my phone, so yeah, I'm good.
Yes. Okay. Well, Stevie, do you want to start us off with your number 10?
Yeah, I ummed and ahed about this one because I thought it's not like the most well-known production he did. It's just one of my personal favourites, and I know that the stuff that hasn't made it, you're going to go, wow. But I just remember how I felt when I heard this. I heard it on radio for the first time. And I'll shout my good friend Leaky Fresh, who was on Sunset Radio at the time. What was he? Let me just double check the year. 1990. He was on radio at the time doing a 9 for the 90s New Jack Swing countdown every week because he was getting all the new releases in and playing them. And I remember when he first played this, and he was just so excited to play it. And if you've not heard it before, for the first 40 seconds of the record, there's no beats. You think you think you've got a ballad here, and it's just building and building. And then after like 45 seconds, boom, the new Jack comes in. But it's a track that's produced by Teddy Riley and wrote by Tammy Lucas and Teddy Riley. It could have been a track for Tammy Lucas's solo album at the time, if there was ever this one. But she started life out as a Latin freestyle dance artist, and then the label went more R&B. But my number 10 is a lady called Niobe. If one can see that CD cover, some of you may have that album in your collection. And Can't Let Go. It's an absolute killer track. It's over 5 minutes long, and it's my number 10 tonight. Great record.
Okay. I've never heard of her.
Stevie, there was another record that he did by her too, because I have a 12-inch.
Yes.
By her. What is the other song? It's called.
Well, there's 3 tracks he produces. One is I Love the Way You Love Me, which again, that was wrote by Tammy Lucas.
Yes.
And there was a cover version, I'll Be Around. The cover version was it Archie Bell and the Drells. Whenever you need me, I'll be around. Spinners, that's it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The album opens with 3 Teddy tracks. If you've not got this album and you love Teddy Riley, please get this album ASAP. Namdi, I can't believe you've not even heard this. Especially if it literally is Tammy Lucas, the 3 tracks, because they're all, you can hear all over in the background. And Niobe's vocal is kind of Tammy Lucas-esque.
Oh, but what label was she on then?
Well, it's on a label called SBK, I think it is.
Okay.
Or WTG Records, sorry. WTG through Columbia at the time, CBS, licensed from CBS. So it didn't really take off. It wasn't that big, but it was just an album that was in the import shops at the time. A few people bought it, but brilliant record. Right then, who's next?
Sheldon, go ahead.
I'll go next. Yeah, that Niobe, I have the 12-inch to I Love the Way You Love Me, and it had that dance club beat 90.
Yeah,
and that's in the era when Teddy was really on a hot streak. Pauline and The Future was out, and he was really producing a lot of people. He was riding shotgun on that. Speaking of that, number 10 song from an album that came out around the same time as the Niobe mix, and it came from a group called Starpoint. Starpoint was a big group that was successful in the 70s, going all the way up into the mid 80s. Around 87 time, they were coming back with, I think it was like their last album that they did, Got What It Takes. And the title song, Teddy Riley produced by Tammy Lucas. There were 3 songs that Teddy and Got What It Takes. It was a record called Your Love, called When They Love You Back, which is a great ballad. But Have You Got What It Takes was really good song. The lead singer, forgot her name, Diggs. She passed away from multiple sclerosis, but she's singing in a sensational way that Tammy writes songs.
They said, is it Renee Diggs?
Diggs. I knew the last name Diggs, Renee Diggs. She is singing, and as you see, Tammy, you hear Tammy Lucas's vocal arrangement. She's a very underrated songwriter. I think she's probably the best found in my top 5 songwriters in the 90s. Number 10.
So okay. So your number 10 was who? Was Star Point which song?
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. Okay.
Have you got
what it takes?
Have you got what it takes?
Yeah. My number 10.
It's a great. Sorry.
Ahead,
It's another great track on that album, Midnight Love. I love that one as well.
Yes.
Great track. But sorry, go on, Namdi.
Yeah, no, sorry. So my man, this was hard for me. I mean, my top 5 are fine, but trying to start putting the stuff in. But I had to go with tracks that I just love, even if I hear them right now. And it was from the House Party soundtrack, Big Bub and Tammy Lucas. I Like Your Style. Yeah, that was, you know, when somebody says, give me a New Jack Swing track. If I gave them that, that's the whole, that just feels New Jack Swing. That with Bub, and you wish they would have carried on and done the whole album in that vein. I Like His Style, Teddy Riley, Big Bub, and Tammy Lucas. And this was Teddy had just broken free of Gene Griffin, and I think you could feel that he was just almost like, yes, let me just come out with my creative energy right now. And so that was just that was an awesome track. So that's my number 10. So yeah,
really happy that's made you top 10, Namdi. That's very surprised me.
Well, you know what? As I mentioned, I'm thinking of tracks that I have on rotation. I can still play right now, and that's. I don't even know. I mean, I've got a few other Bob tracks that I would have made in my top 20, but that's if, as I said, somebody says, "What's New Jack Swing?" That's probably the one I put on and say, "This is what New Jack Swing sounds like." Yes. So, Stevie, what makes you a number 9?
I guess I suppose when I picked these tracks, I just thought of how do they make me feel when I listen to them even now.
Yeah.
And this top 10, it still gives me goosebumps. Still, it's like, oh yeah, and you can. That's how you look at the other tracks that probably didn't make the top 10. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Maybe it's just, but like I said, Niobe, just really. Anyway, number 9. Probably another surprise to a lot of people again because Niobe really was 1990, so it was when, as I was explaining earlier about the 3 periods of Teddy Riley, the early part with Gene Griffin, GR Productions, then from 1990 to say 93, where he's gone more pop, working with Michael Jackson, and then you've got 93 onwards where he went to Virginia Beach and the sound changed with Blackstreet. So this is from the GR production era. Couple of tracks that I've put together from the Zan album he did a cover version of the Isley Brothers. I Got Work to Do. I just like his swinging production on that, the vocoder in the background. I just thought it was a brilliant cover version, and I tied that with What to Be With You, which is more of a mid-tempo.
Is that the one that they used for something in common?
Yes.
Yeah.
That track.
Yeah.
So that's the original.
It's more a mid-tempo R&B soul track, but yeah, and this is like one of probably the first album I bought from the import shop. So I've got fond memories. I still love this album today, and especially them 2 tracks. They still great memories from that time period, and they still give me goosebumps when I listen to them. So Zan, yeah, I Got Work to Do and Want to Be With You, tied number 9.
I mean,
I have that.
we've been trying to get a hold of Zan, but it's been hard to. Yeah, he seems like he dropped out and he doesn't want to talk.
Don't say that, Namdi. Eventually he'll come through.
Yeah,
Gotta
well,
keep that.
yeah. I mean, they passed me his details. I've been trying to get a hold, but I'm sure it's just a matter
I
of
believe
time.
he's slightly reclusive, but give him time. We'll see.
Okay, okay. Yes, Sheldon.
That Zan, I had that on cassette. I remember buying that. My number 9, a record that when I heard it and I saw it being, I was really, really excited because it seemed like speaking of a dynasty. And that record is, I actually wrote an essay about it some years back that really. So this record comes out in 1989. Obviously, Teddy is pretty much at his peak during the GR production era. Signs a deal with Gene to put out the Sound of New York record. Gene reviving his Sound of New York records from CBS, and they come out with a group that's falling under the New Jack rap, and that group is called Rex in Effect. And the first single off the New Jack Swing, and it was just very exciting to hear it because it was almost like down the history, a brief summary of what the first verse was basically talking about. What New Jack Swing, when Teddy came in, it was just like he was running down the list of the people, and then they had them all in the video. The video, they were at a casino. On the list, man, he had everybody in the video.
Minus Buggy Brown.
Sure, Keep Sweat, Today. So it was real. So it was really exciting for me to see. And then they performed on the clip on YouTube when they're performing, and then they bring the crowd goes crazy, and then he starts running down the names of the groups, and then I think Teddy's sister comes out with the kids, and now Big Bug comes out, and people are like losing their mind. And then he would do the show. He would do the Centennial Hall show. He would be sitting in the crowd with Gene, while Rex in Effect would he would pop up in the crowd, and people would just like lose their mind. So it's number 9 for me. Like I said, it was very exciting to see and hear, because now a dynasty is about to be constructed. An empire is about.
So that's New Jack Swing, Rex in Effect. That's Sheldon's number 9. My number 9 is, although and one of the things we start to learn about credits. So when you're looking at credits as to who wrote and produced, during that time, the whole situation with Gene Griffin meant that sometimes Teddy's name was on the track as a producer, or sometimes he's down as a mixer or an engineer, or sometimes he gave his credits away to family members in order to make sure he can sort of get, so that the money stays within the family and he doesn't have to pay ship it out. One such track which he did everything, but he had to give the credit away to his brother, is Do the Right Thing. Redhead Kingpin featuring Big Bob. Unfortunately, I don't think Big Bob was in the video. Somebody else was singing it, but that is it was supposed to be for the movie. They didn't put it on the soundtrack, but it was featured in the movie. But that was I remember being in Nigeria, and when that track came out, Do the Right Thing, it was I mean, we're like, who's this Redhead Kingpin, and one of the biggest problems with that is that he does I don't know if Redhead actually had a bigger track after that, but it was such a an amazing production. As I said again, New Jack Swing meets hip hop. That's what it was. Do the Right Thing, Redhead Kingpin, and the FBI Crew, featuring Big Bob.
Yeah, that and when that song had come out, what was supposed to happen was that was going to be the title track, The Right Thing. But Spike had a meeting with Chuck, and Spike was like, I want, so Chuck D wrote an anthem. Of course, the rest is history. And one of the members on the FBI Crew, their lip. So when you see the video, you see the guy lip syncing it. He's part of the FBI. That track,
okay,
you hear like certain samples that Teddy would bring back on and other future productions that would come out, and great record by Redhead, like you said, production. Markel was on that as far as the credits, and then there was another song that actually came off. It was 3 records that came off on that. They weren't as big as Do the Right Thing, but there was one called Pump It Hottie. That was very popular, and then it was one called We Rock the Mic Right that came off that album. But Pump It Hottie was almost just as big as Do the Right Thing. But once again, I bought the cassette single for that and bought the album, and dope record. Great choice, Namdi.
Okay.
They could have put that. They still could have put that on the Do the Right Thing soundtrack. You could have had. It would have sat well with Public Enemy. Maybe it's an ego thing, but
yeah. I mean, that's a pity because it was the actual title of the album, of the stuff. But you know how politics are. I don't know.
Well,
I mean, the Rex. Let's go back.
What it was.
Sorry, go on, Nep. Go on, Sheldon.
Oh, but what it was that obviously the movie content, as far as the film, and Spike wanted an energetic record pace with the film, because the music, if you've ever seen the film, the music is played throughout the movie. So when it starts off, the song kicks off the movie, and there's different scenes when the movie with Public Enemies Do the Right Thing. I'm sorry, fight throughout. So I think the New Jack Swing hot. If my fantasy is actually on there. Representation is there, but I think that the anthem wise, the energy of Fight the Power, but that Do the Right Thing record was that's a fly record, man. The keyboards, Teddy's keyboard samples on that, great.
Stevie, what about your number 8?
Just a quick comment about your Rex and Effects inclusion. What was your number 9 one at your Rex and Effects?
Yeah, that was New Jack Swing.
Yeah, I just can't remember the original. Someone posted the original Funk 7 that he sampled Teddy on the NGS Free forum on Facebook, and he's basically looped up the first 10 seconds of this Funk 7. Din 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 din. All he's done is loop that up, and he's repeated it. Add some drum and whatever over the top and done the rap, but to find that 7, what they sampled was, I don't know how he found that 7. Maybe it was in his crates, I'm not sure, and he's looped it up.
Yeah, for a hot minute, I thought it was a Joe Tech sample called She Wanted to.
It's not Joe Tech. No, but it's not Joe Tech.
But I'm saying, I thought it was in the beginning. Spanish group called The Searchers, and the song was called Hector.
That's it.
It's called Hector. So when you hear them sampling, they're sampling the big crowd, like because the song is like live.
Yeah. Well, you can hear the first 10 seconds of the track. You can hear the loop and the crowd in the background. Yeah. It's very similar to what they did with, Chub Rock, Treat You Right. The James Brown, that production, James Brown.
Yeah.
Is it Marva? It's the same thing. The way that Treat You Right, dun 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 dun. These 10 seconds at the beginning of that original funk set that I just looped over and over again. Yeah. Very good to spot their samples.
Very, very dope. Yeah, that was the James Brown production of them. Yeah, dope sample,
Yeah.
man. I'm telling you, at the time, I was thinking that like he's playing the instruments and he didn't realize back then that a lot of that stuff was like samples. But when I heard him, I was like, man, this dude, man, his record crate is awesome, you know. But
Yeah.
How much role did Bernard Bell play in well, a lot during that GR production period, from production, writing, arranging. He did a lot. He did it, you know. He's very unsung. Anyway, number 8.
Number 8 for
I got to
Stevie.
fast forward now to 93, 94 for Blackstreet. And how do you pick a Blackstreet track? I mean, it's impossible to just pick one. So I've tied 3 together. My 3 favorite. I'm sorry, I just had to. But the original CB4 soundtrack version of Baby Be Mine is one of them. Because I remember that was the first record with Joseph Stone Street on. It's a long track. It's about 6 minutes long. And we all heard that, and we're all excited, thinking, "Who are Blackstreet? What is this?" do you remember that? And I played it so much. All my friends at the time in college, I remember a couple of guys that I was with in college at the time. They bought a 12-inch copy of it, and we went to, go to clubs at the time. Hearing that in a club around my area, it was just so exciting, so exciting. And then, obviously, was it a year later, 94, that debut Blackstreet album drops, and you're just in heaven with that album from start. You are in heaven listening to that. It's an album that by the end of the week, because you've not stopped playing it all week, because you've gone out, you spent your £16 import fee on the CD, because it was out on import first. I don't think it went out. I don't think it got a UK release fee. I think it was an import. So you're playing it every night, and by the end, you knew the whole album lyric for lyric.
Yeah,
and we don't do that, do we? Just nobody does that these days. But I tied from the debut. I tied obviously Joy, and I tied the last track, the bonus track, Giving You All My Loving. That Giving You All My Loving still gives me goosebumps today. That
that's my favorite joint off the Blackstreet album, the first one. And when he's singing, Teddy is he's singing the riff from Earth, Wind & Fire's, and he's just killing it, man. Dope record.
I mean, to think that album had more than 40 songs. Some of them were recorded, and they were, some of them were recorded during the Bobby session, and he had over 40 songs. Some of it during the Michael session, and they had to trim it down. And when I interviewed Levi, he said somewhere out there, somebody has demos, just has the copies of all the tracks that they had. And then also, if you heard the tracks that Joseph Stonestreet sang on, no one was throwing any shade to Dave Hollister, but they just said that he was just on a different level. So Levi has said it, Tammy has said it, Eric Williams has said it, everyone who else was it? Mucho said it, Sprague, they all said it, man, that Joe Stonestreet, he was probably one of the best, him and Diesel were just up there with the best singers that they've ever come across. And it's just a pity that we just didn't really get to see them at their best. Because when he sang the original Baby Be Mine on that CB4 soundtrack, I was like, man, who is this guy? And I was in England when that came out, and it was just like, as I said, it was just, it was just something new we just didn't expect and didn't see. And, featuring Teddy for me was like, oh, he's on this? Yeah. So
I remember as well, because the Blackstreet debut album, it kind of come out in the summer of 94. And a few months later, some of you who were buying records at the time might remember this, because it was a shock to a lot of people. There was this white label bootleg. It was pressed up, and I don't know who did it. Maybe we shouldn't talk about who did it anyway, but it came in the shops, and it had 3 Blackstreet unreleased tracks from that album on it. It had the interlude to Boot Knuckleization, which was about 2.5 minutes long, and it was just the rap and it was like Eric Sermon was rapping on it as well. And then you had I Like It, which was the DeBarge cover. So I'm like, how radio where radio DJs got this. I like, and I'm like, why wasn't it on the album? And
Yeah.
I think the third, I can't remember the third track. I think it was a ballad near the end. It was an extension of a ballad, but you had to get that bootleg, and it was like, to get that on vinyl, you were paying £15 for it.
Wow.
And the quality was bad though, because I think it'd been bootlegged off a cassette tape, because all them tracks appeared on the promotional cassette tape. I didn't even know there was a promotional tape with like 4 or 5 other tracks on it. Never even saw that at the time. I only found that out after, when the internet came along. I never saw it. I did get that bootleg anyway.
Every Sermon would do interviews like later, and that boot knockler turned out to be the Booty Call.
Yeah, he did co-produce Booty Call with Teddy. Yeah, because Eric Sherman did co-produce Booty Call with Teddy.
It just wouldn't fit on the CD. They literally filled that CD with all them tracks. There was no space. It should really have been a double CD. But obviously, Interscope weren't going to go with that. So how they fit it all? Well, I suppose it had 2 sides of a tape, didn't they?
Yeah.
So the promotional cassette tape could have got, but it could be a bit more space on it to fill it out.
Right. Well, if the cassette comes out, then Giving You All My Love, and if they got all those songs on there, Giving You All My Love, because think about it, it seems like it's, but they also had dudes on there too. So you got to add those on there too. Song in the loop. Yeah.
So my number 8 is going to come from that debut album, and I remember when the album came out, and first we had Booty Call, and then they were like, okay, the formula back in the day was you come out with a fast beat, then you come out with a slow jam, then mid tempo, and then they came out with Before I Let You Go. The video was simple, they had is it oh goodness, Epps, the guy, is it not Omar Epps? Is it Omar Epps? The guy was in Juice.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, they had him, and then he heard from Coming to America in the video, and it was just the simple love story, and the guy's old school type of on the steps, and the song. I'm being a massive Teddy fan, just watching how the song slowly just kept creeping up the charts, because it was a slow starter, but it was pure, it was relaxed, it was chilled, and it was almost like Teddy had sort of rediscovered some lost magic, because we hadn't seen him do that type of intimate ballad. I don't know why he does it. He didn't do enough of them, because in that way. But it was such a beautiful song that even now I think people, when they listen to it, and we only heard the Dave Hollister version. When Mike Edwards said, man, if you'd heard the version, I've heard people talk about the Joe Stonetry version was just almost dynamite, but we've only seen the Dave Hollister one, and that's his signature song, but it's just a massive, beautiful song. So give it up to Teddy for that ballad. It sounds like a baby, it's the kind of Babyface said he wished he had written it. That's the kind of a Babyface. It's universal. So yeah, Before I Let You Go is my number 8.
Can I get a good kiss, good night, baby?
Yeah, it was almost like a slower version of Kissing Game. That type of sweet love and stuff like that. Yeah. Richard, we're actually doing the remixes next week, so people are putting the Jane Child, and that's a remix, and so we're doing the remixes next week.
Yeah, if you just joined us, it's Teddy Riley Productions only tonight. Next week it'll be Teddy Riley remixes.
Yeah.
Just an update.
Yeah. So yeah, just to show. Okay. Stevie, you're number 7.
It's Sheldon. Oh, is it? Oh, it was Sheldon's yet.
Oh, sorry, Sheldon. Yes.
Yeah, yes. My number 8 is from an artist whose career by Teddy. When this put his records out that Teddy would produce, he had already been a rapper since like 1979. So Teddy produced his records starting in like 86, and then he follows it up with an album in 89 that puts him, you know, old school rapper to transition into the next. And that person is Kool Moe Dee. And the record that I have is They Want Money. Obviously, Kool Moe Dee is his rhyme is about women, money, but the track that Teddy's doing, oh my God, with the saxophone, and there's a cassette version out there, or if you have the album version, the instrumental without the verse, oh my God, the record just swings, man. The drums, all the sound effects, the saxophone loop. So that's my number 8. They Want Money. Kool Moe Dee.
Okay.
It's funny. I always felt with Kool Moe Dee, I was looking at the stuff that he did with Teddy, and I always thought it was solid stuff. But I just thought, have I got a killer track there, that a killer from Kool Moe Dee, and it just didn't. Listen, it's solid, but I was just waiting for a killer track. I'd say them tracks were like 8 out of 10 for me. There was no like 10 out of 10 Teddy Kool Moe Dee track.
I think I go to work though. That's my favorite Kool Moe Dee track. I go to work. I mean, it narrowly missed out my top 10, but I think it narrowly missed out I go to work. I
thought Go See the Doctor was very clever. Go See the Doctor, dun.
Yeah, but you're talking about it. I mean, I think I go to work was that's up to. I mean,
I go to work was. I think that was the tracks on his Knowledge is King album. I mean, not Knowledge is King. That was the second album that he did with him. But when he did I Go to Work, I think that song, when you look at Dope, you had the swirling sound effects and the James Brown samples.
It was a good record.
He was able to match Teddy's beats, word for word. That track that you're looking for, Kool Moe Dee has like this robotic vocal style. It's not like it's a heavy D. Like Heavy D's voice is very fluid. He can kind of flow, kind of like those tracks that he did for Kool Moe Dee. They really took him to the next. He moved on. They moved on from each other. Kool Moe Dee was never able to. But yeah, I Go to Work. It's probably my maybe second or third favorite Kool Teddy. But if you ever get a chance to hear the track to They Want My, you talk about a production, the swing track, perfect, man.
Did you think around the time as well, because he had that beef with LL Cool J, and I think that sort of like, did it end his career? I don't know. I just remember LL Cool J came off better, it seemed, and
I think
that was the perception at the time.
Yeah, what was that in terms of, because Teddy did a few first album, he did Go See the Doctor and another record. Then he did How You Like Me Now, which was the beef, and then that was like a platinum album for Moe Dee, which was a really big deal. And then they came out with Knowledge is King, sold about maybe 900,000, 950,000. And that was really biggest thing was that LL was like I won't say up and coming, but so he was kind of able to kind of lean on the record sales, but in terms of technique and delivery, he got him in terms of what he was saying, how he was saying it. But LL was the younger, kind of more plugged into LL, and it made it seem that Kool Moe Dee's career, but LL didn't bury his career. It's just that Kool Moe Dee couldn't transition to level. Teddy talked about in the interview here in the States that he wished that he could have worked a lot longer on his next album, but he was just really, really busy. Give him the music that he wanted to give.
if you looked at both their albums from say '89, you've got obviously Kool Moe Dee with Knowledge Is King, and then you've got LL's Walking with a Panther. I would say that Kool Moe Dee's album is a better album than Walking with a Panther. But I think by the time LL came out, it was about a year later, wasn't it, 1990, with Mama Said Knock You Out, it was all over because that was a killer album. Kool Moe Dee could never match. He didn't come out after that and match that album for me. That just kind of blown it all away.
No, he really had he had the Death Blow. What was the one that Death Blow was on?
Death Blow, and Teddy did another record. But it was just, and
that was going up against Mama Said Knock You Out, and
yeah, I think it was because he had the video had the LL being knocked out. His delivery was much harder than LL, but I think
but you play Mama Said Knock You Out against any hip hop record that year, and that is up there. It's very hard to touch that. Very hard to touch.
Yeah, but you have to understand that they marketed LL as a sex symbol, so he didn't just. So Kool Moe Dee was in a lane like I'm the best rapper stuff. LL was a sex symbol, and so
you ask hip hop fans, what do they remember more? Mama Said Knock You Out or Death Blow? I'm sorry, it's Mama Said Knock You Out every time.
But you got to look at the album that it came from. At that point, when Kool Moe Dee's best records were always the ones that Teddy did, and all the other songs were kind of like when he came out with the fourth album. Like that was the only one I think that Teddy he did. Kool Moe Dee has some good records on. It's just the point his style and his vocal style, it just kind of like people. But in terms of his rhyming ability, his rhyming ability never at his style, because at that point, they were younger and younger artists. They weren't really tuned into him because the older fans. They will think when you look at Mama Said Knock You Out as an entire album. I'm gonna tell you, Kool Moe Dee's albums, the best album he might have been. It's a combination of Knowledge Is King, How You Like Me, in the album with Death Blow. I can't think of it. Funky Wisdom. That's the name of the album. Yeah. So those three, I think, in terms of, he had a lot of filler on a lot of those records. I think Mama Said very, very well rounded. In terms of LL's writing ability, Kool Moe Dee could do Kool Moe Dee was not really great in terms of diversity, in terms of like writing, but as far as rhyming, his rhyming was still top notch, even after being coming out in 1979, and here we go in 1990, 1991. He still.
No, Kool Moe Dee's, in terms of his rapping, you can't question it. He's a top guy back then. He was a top guy. And anyway, I think we should move on because
we'll move on because we'll
that battle really.
Yeah, go ahead. Go on, Stevie. What's your number 7?
Oh, number 7. Oh wow, right. Just literally before we started live, I was just looking at the credits of this album and I thought, oh dear, can I still? Because I just assumed it would say produced by Teddy Riley. It doesn't actually. It says produced by Gene Griffin and arranged by Teddy Riley.
Yeah, that's Teddy's production there.
But, we're going to say Teddy did this whole album.
It's a Teddy stuff, so don't worry.
GR Productions have gone with the debut from today, which it's not an easy CD to find these. The album you could probably get a copy of for probably about £5 on Discogs, but the CD, this holds its price. Now you're paying like between £30 and £50 for this CD if you want a copy of it. But I've chose Girl I Got My Eyes on You. I mean, it's it's some great tracks on this album. It's Him or Me, and I know there's something in Sheldon's top 10 for it. I've just got a feel there has to be, but Girl I Got My Eyes on You, just very catchy, very sing along. It just makes you feel good, doesn't it? Girl, I got my eyes on you, baby.
It's a shame that became a number 1 out record without a video, and it just shows you the chaos of Gene Griffin. that, you know, to not really help a group just blow up. Go number one without a video, without an official release. It just shows that, you know, even without, you know, with his whole chaos and stuff. So yeah, definitely, that was a beautiful album. Some beautiful songs on there. Okay, this is going to get interesting for me. Number 7, oh, man, I've had to shift things around, but number 7 has to be.
I'm waiting for your David Foster moment, or maybe that was it with Blackstreet Before I Let Go. Maybe that was your David Foster moment.
Yeah, my number 7 is Groove Me.
Wow.
And you know, when it is, you know, even the video itself, you know, the whole setup. But Timmy Gatlin telling the story of how he calls Teddy, and Teddy says, "Come over here. You know, I've got this vibe going on. Come over here." And he hears, you know, he comes to the house, and Teddy's flat, and he has all the kids, people all around the house. Can you write to this? And then Timmy just writes the lyrics to Groove Me while Teddy's music is just playing the music on and on and on. And this is us being introduced to Aaron Hall and the whole new, that's the introduction to that new jack swing. The whole, we're taking over this new generation, this whole vibe. It's a really sad story, the whole, that Timmy didn't get to enjoy celebrate with the whole thing. But that's I don't know, that's an anthem. That Groove Me still holds its own now. Everyone can still get up and dance to that. It doesn't seem to be dated. So yeah, Groove Me hits my number 7.
Wow, number 7. Number 7, Sheldon. What's going on here? You know what I mean? What's going on?
Oh,
Sheldon, what's your number 6?
Maybe he hit his head on the microphone. You know, he's setting everything up.
Hey, says the man who picks. What was the song?
Not hard. Give me my heart.
Give me my heart. Still can't forgive you for that, man. How is that your favorite LM Baby production? Anyway, what's your number 6? So
okay,
no, we're at number. Yeah, we're at number 7.
Number 7 is going to be for me a record really brought a legendary artist back, probably one of the last great records. There's the New Jack production, and then the song is written in a circular style. Teddy wanted it written in a way that it was similar to what Leon, who don't know who Leon Silvers was. He was like a Teddy Riley of the early 80s. So he's the one that helped Teddy produce when Teddy had his Future team, mid 90s going into the late 90s. Leon Silvers was part of that team. The song that I'm referring to is called "Remember the Time." Remember the Time. It's on Dangerous. Dangerous was a cool album. I think, Remember the Time was the album centerpiece, and I remember that when I was really excited, they were like, "Man, Michael Jackson is like really back." Yeah, they was Jam. You know, all of those were in you know, right in alignment with the New Jack Swing style of the team. Like, Remember the Time was just a notch above it because it was New Jack Swing, contemporary R&B, but it was like it was like classic R&B as well too. Mixed Mike doing his thing, and you got to give credit to Bernard Bell. You got to give credit to Teddy's, because that romantic component is extremely important with Namdi and some of these romantic songs, because a lot of Teddy's is a lot of groove oriented, New Jack Swing productions. But when you lock him in with his man, it elevates those songs and take them to the next level. So Remember the Time is my
You're number 7.
Wow,
Yeah,
number 7. Number 7.
I mean, you know what?
Dear.
Remember the time.
Only number 7, Sheldon. Come on,
Yeah.
Andy. It's the number 7. What's
Yeah.
going
I
on,
mean,
guys?
I would say that, if you think about Remember the Time, that's the song that brought Michael back to the black community. That was the song that's like, oh, he's one of us. When he was, especially when he performed the Soul Train, he sprained his ankle, so he sat down and performed. That song said, "Come home back, Michael." So that was a massive song for Michael, because especially later on in his career, he needed a home, and that welcomed him back in. It was. Bernard Bell at his best. Tammy said she helped with some of the little references for that for Michael and stuff. Yeah, as much as 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 much as I love the fact that Teddy did 7 songs off of Dangerous. Um, I would have preferred if he had become more Teddy on that, like he did on the Bobby album. So that was just my only critique with that album. But no one can to take away how much Remember the Time made a massive impact on Michael's career. And really, the video, it was just a legendary song and production and everything. Yeah.
Number 7.
Stevie,
Remember
what's your
An
number
all-time
6?
classic. At least it's in the top 10, though. Listen, if anyone watching to make your top, it's hard. It is. I mean, saying that, from 6 onwards, I don't think there's any surprises. There's no room here for any, what wild choices, any wild cards. So from number 6 goes to a young male vocal group fronted by, of course, Tony Thompson. High Five. I like the way. The Kissing Game. I think Bernard Bell had a big involvement in that.
Yeah.
But
And that was one of the ones with Dave Wade doing the mixing and engineering and co-writing that
it's
as
one
well.
of Teddy's favorite tracks. He said that's one of his favorites as well. It's one of mine. It's it's in number 6. Could it have been further up? Yeah, but I'm looking at what's in front of it. Again, it's in there. It's in my top 20. It's in my top 10. It's High Five. So it's a song that has stood the test of time. Some of the millennials now are kind of, you hear it on a few IG reels, so it's still got it. It's still got
I think for Teddy, maybe it was the surprise as Chimbeat says, that he went to number 1 on the Billboard 100. I mean, I think that's I wonder. No, he's had it with No Diggity, but that was a big deal to go number 1 with a track that you didn't expect it to go that big with a new group. I think for him that's the big surprise and stuff. So yeah, that was definitely.
My little story about that is when it came out on 12-inch. I remember it was literally at the end of it. It might have been the end of January that year, and I went out to the and it had been snowing. And it'd been heavily, not like the snow we get back then. We got heavy snow, and I managed to get into the city centre, into the and I was looking for a copy of the Wooten Brothers Friends, because I believe that had come out as a single, but they didn't really press any vinyl on it. I think it was a CD single, and I was so disappointed that this Wooten Brothers record weren't in the shop. But what was there was the 12-inch of High Five, The Kissing Game. And I thought, oh, I'm having that then. I'm not taking. And I came home with that. I'm glad I came home with that to this day. But anyway, carry on there.
I'll be honest. I actually preferred Just Can't Handle It. Personally, I thought
the album mix. It's the remix you're talking about, and that was Devontae. The album mix is nothing like that remix. The beats, it's all very. It almost sounds like live drumming on the album mix.
Oh, which one?
You're
Just Can't Handle It.
Remix. Yeah, that's Devontae. That. It's not Teddy. Teddy's credited, but also that's Devontae.
Okay. Sheldon, what's your number 6?
My number 6 one of my most favorite New Jack ballads, and that's "Make It Last Forever." That's my number.
Number. Wow.
Yeah, that's my. A lot of people. There are other songs. You'll see as we move forward with this. But I think the thing with that record, man, was so great that it was a duet, and duets were kind of like fading out. Keith Sweat, that he brought in an unknown singer, and it came good, and the lyrics. When you start talking, just when you look at that song, "Kissing Game," and "Remember the Time," you listen to the lyrics, man. The lyrics songs really, they really give those songs a lot of depth. Just don't sing it, and you just read the lyrics. If you're reading them off a lyric sheet, great, man. It's just romantic. It really just touches the heart. How the chemistry back and forth between him and Jackie McGee. I would have loved their album together. It was just a tragedy, But I would put that duet, a lot of classic duets, whether it's Roberta Flack and Donny Hathaway or Rick James and Tina. That's in, "Make It Last Forever" is probably in my top 10 of all. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, "Make It Last Forever" actually is also my number 6, and it's a song that actually I can still remember as a kid listening to it, and it's the way they respond to each other. I mean, we love Jackie McGee. She's a big, she's part of our family, and she's she's going to be coming back on soon. Love Jackie. It's amazing that I know Jackie McGee, who sang on one of the greatest love ballads. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But that is.
We'd never have said that back in 1990. Would have just never have said that, would we?
Never have said that. I mean, because you wonder, oh, how come Tammy didn't sing it? But there's something about, if you listen to, and actually I have to appreciate Jackie's interview, because she had known Teddy from, when there were rats running around his apartment. That's how she said it. But I think it's one of those things where it's without a video. That's another track that had no video that blew up the radio. That things were just moving so quickly. Some of Teddy's best stuff for me has always been those early stuff, but is such a powerful track. Unfortunately,
listen,
my number 6.
I feel that if Jackie had not sung on that track, I don't think it would have been the same. You could have got any other female singer, because there's just something about the way she sings that track. It goes to the depths.
Yeah,
whatever she was going through at the time, because it comes across and you feel it there, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, so that's my number 6. Yeah, that's my number 6.
Top 5, guys. Something wrong with it.
I mean, we have to talk. I mean, as I said, this was, I've learned my lesson, but this is really favorite things that I know that I can play at any time. I mean, he's made some bigger tracks, but yeah. Well, who's your 5, Stevie?
Oh, go on, Sheldon wants to say something.
Yeah, he's done a lot of duets. Jackie McGee is his best duet partner.
Yeah, because you think about the stuff with Cut Close and others, but yeah, I don't think he could come close to that. Yeah, Stevie, number 5.
All right, then number 5. If you were just to take this as an instrumental production alone, I feel like in terms of Teddy's production on this, even the mix and the mastering, it is perfection. It is New Jack Swing perfection personified. It's from that. It's after the GR Productions. It's where it's 1992, and I just felt he'd mastered. He didn't. If he'd never made a New Jack Swing record after this, if he'd have just stopped there, he'd have left on probably one of his best, greatest production sounds ever. Because number 5 went to Bubba. I Like Your Style.
Okay, so
Just for the production, instrumental alone, he's just like he still blows me head away to this day. It's just so slick, so tight, and that lately bass, and it's just one of the best New Jack Swing records ever made. That. It's not there. For me, he would have never had to make another New Jack record ever after that.
Yeah, as I said, this Teddy's my all-time favorite. So for me to start to put a list of top 10, I could do my top 5, but I think the top 10, I struggled with those ones. I kind of switched things in and out, but that House Party 2, both those soundtracks, and Teddy having a couple of tracks on the. I think he even did the what's the one with Today. Today we're on it in House Party 2. Yeah, well, Teddy, that was a Teddy production, and they probably took all his stuff and did it. Because that sounds like him. But anyway, yes, yeah, I like his style with Tammy, softly at the back, and then you had Bub. So having the two,
it was just perfection. It really is perfection. He couldn't have perfected it anymore. That sound. And he was using a lot of different, you compare to what he was using to make his GR production sounds into 92, what he was making his new, it had changed.
Yeah.
When I did meet Teddy and asked him what was the difference in the sound, I don't think he quite got my question, because he just went, well, all that GR Productions was me. And I'm like, I wasn't asking you that, mate. I was asking you, how did it change? How did that, where was the change in the sound? So, but it was at a gig I asked him. There's a lot of people around, so he probably misheard me. But
I like your style. Just some inside information is that when the synths, the keyboard synths on that record, earliest rap productions that he did for the song Rap's New Generation. That's one of the earliest records he did when he got his job publishing deal. The bass synths, he's sampling that. He's sampling himself. You would hear those synths on other productions that he would actually do. But yeah, I like his, great background vocals and just beautiful record.
Yeah. Okay. What's Why you get from Eugene? Yeah. What's Sheldon? What makes you number 5?
My number 5 is In the Wrong Way by Keith Sweat. I love Teddy's synthesizer riffs. Now when he's got the riffs going on in there, and it's like really, really dramatic. Right in the Wrong Way. It's just very, very spare. And you hit, and then Keith does things. And I love it. Great storyline, singing to the girl. And older man, younger woman type, and just the whole mood, the whole vibe of the record.
And that's Tammy at the back. Tammy's singing singing throughout that track.
Yes, perfect, man. And it's great. It's normally when you have people singing, females, but when you have Tammy singing in the background, you don't need anybody else on a lot of those records. He brings that. He's like a main ingredient to those songs or whatever. But yeah, man.
Yeah. It was on my top 10, but I had to move it around. There's
Hold
a
on a
right
minute.
and a wrong way to love somebody.
Make It Last Forever? Who put Make It Last Forever at 6?
Yeah, we both did. Sheldon and I.
You put Right and Wrong after Make It Last Forever.
I like that song better. I love it better.
You like that song better. You may be young, but you're ready. You may be young, but you're ready. Come on,
ready
guys.
to.
I love it because what happens is
you may be young, but you're ready.
Playing. I love how the keyboard match the vocals. And at the end, when he says "Your daddy's little girl," he's taking that from the stylistic expression.
Digging a hole here, guys. You dig even a bigger hole for yourself.
Hey,
man.
Goodness. Well, my number 5.
Oh, it's all good fun. It's just a bit of good fun. That's
my number 5 is. My number 5 is actually, Tammy's in this as well, and Goodbye Love. It's the whole Goodbye Love. There's the whole going back and forth with Aaron. It would have been interesting to see if the original version of that was still, because Tammy says it was her voice was a lot louder and it was more of a back and forth, very similar probably to Make It Last Forever. But maybe Gene just thought, we don't want to take the shine off you guys, so maybe that's why it was just kept in a low band. But the story, that was a big story. I'm saying goodbye, But actually, Timmy says the story that he was saying he was breaking up a relationship when he came up with the idea for that. But I just loved that track. And I think when you think of a lot of Jodeci kind of stuff, that's the vibe that he took off. And my biggest thing was the fact that Teddy went away from that. So if you think about Goodbye Love, Piece of My Heart, Piece of My Love, Right Turn the Wrong Way, Make It Last Forever, he went away from that sound, which was such a strong sound for him, and others took the song. And even in the 90s, a lot of other groups took that style, and that's my biggest thing, that Teddy just didn't think he had a winning formula, and he kind of walked away from it, and others took it and ran with the whole Jodeci stuff.
That's a brave selection.
That's a great analysis, Nnamdi, when you say that, because he had, if he would have his lyrics with him, I mean, those songs added balance when up-tempo records. So like you said, is that Jodeci, Boyz II Men, specifically that whole romantic situation, they took it to the next level. So those are the records, the forever records like that. Who what would have happened if it was Nard and whoever else was helping out on a lyricism side? It would have been great, man. It would have been really great.
Yeah. So
and of course, and Timmy, it's night and day. So when you lose Timmy Gatlin, and then of course you've got Bernard Bell and Tammy Lucas. But if he had those, even if he just had Timmy, you lost the key component team,
Bumps and bumps. Goodness gracious. Yeah, you're right. Bumps and bumps. Yeah. That was my 5. Stevie, what makes your number 4?
I'm just going to say, comment on that Goodbye. Very, like I say, it's a deep track, that, and it's a brave. It's not many people would have picked that in the top 10, I don't think. But I like that. Yeah, it's not something you'd. Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. Number 4. It is. I've tied 2 tracks together. One is his best track, and the other one is down just strictly again for the production. But I've gone with Keith Sweat and Jackie McGee. Make It Last Forever. It could have been number 1. Any of my number 4 now, any of these 4 could be number 1. But Make It Last Forever is at number 4, which we've already spoke about, and I've tied it with Your Love Part 2. And again, I'm going on about the percussion, the rhythm, the drums, and something we ain't talked about is when Teddy goes on. He's not on his talk box when he gets on the telephone. And he's in the background on his telephone like that.
Yeah.
Just who was doing that at the time? In the background. And Keith's got, Teddy, and he's like, yep. like in the back, just the coolest thing ever. On the telephone there, and Keith's doing his Barry White kind of talking bit all the way. It goes on for about 6 minutes, but a lot of people have forgot that record. Your Love Part 2 album mix. Have another listen to that.
Yeah, so that was good. Did anyone put anything from Guy 3?
Well, we haven't. Let's, we're not got to we're not done the whole 20. You've got 20, yeah. Let's.
Yeah. No, that was definitely Your Love. Yeah, it was. Yeah, definitely. I think Teddy having fun on that track. Sheldon, what's your number 4?
I'm gonna tie this. You know what? I'm not gonna tie it. I'm just gonna take one off. Ain't right. Keith Sweat.
Who?
Keith Sweat. Something just ain't right. I had it tied with I Wanna, because I Wanna, that's the jump off for everything, obviously. But somehow I love that record, how it starts with the blistering keyboard riff and flow. I think it's just it's just a classic R&B record, man. Even though I Wanna, I like something just ain't at the time when I Wanna was out, but over the years I've liked it a lot, but I've shifted more to something just ain't. It's a New Jack Swing record, but it's the same time it's still in the lane of what the R&B. Dope record, man. Of course, the storytelling, girl, I just can't sleep at night. Ooh, you been cheating on me. And then the keyboard, just love it, man.
You know what, Sheldon? Why didn't you just pick Keith Sweat and tie your 3 best songs together on one number? Because you're going through the whole Keith Sweat album in your top 5 here.
We've got a rule that we don't do more than 2 on an album, so I don't think we've
you
done
that. 3 tracks. You can allow 3 tracks tied together.
Yeah, so, we talking about production, but like I said, that's what it is, man. Okay.
Yeah. I wish I could. Anyway, so I think when I get to my top 4,
you're number 4 now, Namdi. You're on number 4.
Yeah, I think when I get to my top 4, I think people will probably be surprised with the tracks that I put in here. But I'm going with songs that I really passionately love. And this is number 4 is Don't Leave Me.
Wow.
From the Winans, not Blackstreet. I love the drums. I just love his drum. This is when he still was working with Dave.
Did he produce Don't Leave Me?
No, I'm not talking about the Eddie F remix. I'm talking about the album version. The album. I don't like. Eddie, I love you, but I don't like the remix version. I love the album version. He was there. It's just the drums are just the drums, drum programming with Dave Way on that track.
Yes.
As I said, big shout out to It's Time and A Friend, but Don't Leave Me is my. I love that track. I just love the way it's just the synths are going there, and he just. Yeah, love the track. Yeah, that's the album. If you open it up and look at Don't Leave Me, I think who wrote it? Was it Bernard?
Let's have a look, because I'm not even looked at these credits for years.
Yeah, I think Bernard wrote it with Teddy as taking the credit, but the beats on that.
Hold on, you're going to be surprised. It just credits all the Winans guys as writing it. Marvin Winans, Carvin, Ronald. And then it says engineer mixer Dave Way, mixed by Gene Griffin, musician Teddy Riley, background vocals Winans and Aaron Hall.
Yeah, Aaron Hall is singing.
You could see the if you think so. This was the time when Teddy and Dave Way did Kissing Game and and Do Me Right. But that I just love if you just listen to it and just the constant beat on that the drum
I need to listen to that again. I've not
Yeah,
listened to
please
that.
do. Loved the album
Yeah.
version. When I heard the remix, I was like, "Whoa, this is completely." In fact, I was offended that they didn't even release the album version as it. But that's one. It touches me when I listen to that. So that's my number 4.
I think that's the first gospel record I ever bought as well, you know. And obviously, I bought it because it was produced by Teddy Riley, but it got me into gospel. It got me into gospel R&B. So it started somewhat off.
Yeah, it
Somebody
was. I
told-
mean, yeah,
Loved it. Yeah.
yeah. It's definitely yeah. I mean, well, who knows? Stevie might put this on his. Boy George might be on Stevie's because he was a big Culture Club fan. So don't worry about that. Stevie, what makes you number 3? Oh, we got John from Barbados. What's up? Okay, is it your friend Stevie, John Anderson?
That's Mr. Leaky Fresh, the guy who I do mention a lot on this podcast.
Okay,
He's actually tuned in live, which is nice to see. Good evening, sir.
Okay.
The guy's actually a legend. He's an unsung legend, radio legend. You know, played a lot. He was probably the first person in Manchester City Centre to play New Jack Swing on the radio. So when it wasn't cool, I remember going in record shops at the time and we were getting laughed at for buying New Jack Swing because people were buying late 80s soul like Freddie Jackson, that kind of thing, and also UK street soul, which is a whole nother debate. But if you was buying New Jack Swing, you was like, what is that swing MC Hammer Pant gold pants rubbish that you're buying? He'll remember all that. But he used to play it, you know. A lot of the records that I first heard were played by him in Manchester, so big respects. Right, number
3.
Number 3. Again, it could have been number 1, but number 3, I tied 2 tracks from the Michael Jackson Dangerous album, and obviously Remember the Time, which it's a classic. It is an all-time classic, and I tied it with Can't Let Her Get Away, which, again, Teddy's production on Can't Let Her Get is just insane. Absolutely insane. Wasn't a single, but that track alone, you know, it kept the hardcore New Jack Swing heads very
yeah.
Kept us all very.
What did you put? You had it with which one?
I tied it with Remember the Time.
Okay. What about She Drives Me Wild? Did you not like that? I love that. I love the She Drives Me Wild. Huh?
Yeah, totally. So you know, but I just think Can't Let Her Get Away edges it.
Yeah, it was Michael's first rap. With him rapping, yeah, can't get, yeah, I can get her. Yeah.
No, did it have Rex and Effects on it?
No, they were on She Drives Me Wild. And he used the car door and the horn to do that track. You know, it was as I said, it was beautiful stuff.
But my big disappointment, and I've said this on another podcast, my biggest disappointment was I was expecting a whole album produced by Teddy from Michael Jackson. That's what we were led to believe, and we only got 7 tracks. You know, it was disappointing when it actually dropped.
But listening to Rodney, the work, he was supposed to do the same thing like Quincy, just do the production. So I think Teddy was supposed to do that. But what happens, he says, they talk about how Michael can just then have commitments to friends and says, okay, you want to track my album? Sure, I'll put you on there. And then all of a sudden he gets 15, 16 songs. And he's like, then he cuts some out. So think about the track. For me, should have been on the album. It was taken off. Mm-hmm. I think Ghost was there. He was taken off. Joy was there. So he recorded the whole album, and then he took tracks off and put some on for favors and stuff. And so that was disappointing. But yeah, okay. Yeah. So that's your number 3 was the Michael production.
Did we ever need Black or White on that album? That first single, I was like, what is this? What is this?
You know,
when you look at that, at the time when they were kind of going through that situation with Gene, and they kind of we broke away, and he went to the studio, and he made the tracks. He made a lot of tracks for the Dangerous album, as he just took. And obviously, some of those tracks probably went to, because think about it, as Bobby Brown and some of those tracks might have went to them, but those were the ones that Mike picked.
Yeah. So what's your number 2, Sheldon?
Number 3 is
Number 3.
No, Sheldon. Sorry, Sheldon, number 3.
Number 3. This record is probably Aaron Hall's greatest vocal performance on all the Guy records that he's ever done. This record taken from the Guy 3 album, and
the Guy 3 album. Wow.
Teddy's doing, and Teddy's actually replaying an interpolation to It's a Man's World, and the song is called Rescue Me, ballad.
Wow. Number 3.
And Aaron,
wow.
Aaron is dope. You got, if you haven't heard Rescue Me, you would see what I mean. You can hear the power, the passion of his voice, because a lot of records that Aaron sings on the riffs and the runs, but he's singing the lyrics, man, straight through lyrical runs that he's used to doing. It's probably the best vocal performance from him. And I'm talking about his entire catalog, everything. So Rescue Me, change it out with something. But I just, Rescue Me is, I feel it was one, and I play all the time when I play their catalog. So, yeah.
Well, someone was asking, would there be anything from Guy 3 on people's top 10s? Well, there's your answer, Sheldon.
I think my
I'll be honest,
issue.
I didn't see that one coming.
Neither did I. And actually, my biggest issue with that track was the fact that it was recorded by 911, and so if you hear the original version with Diesel, I thought Diesel sounded better, and so that was my biggest concern with that track, that it was it was an interpolation of what Diesel did, but it wasn't as powerful as Diesel's version. But anyone who's listened to 911 could make a decision. Yeah.
But you know what? It makes a lot of sense, because maybe the record off of the Diesel's reference totally different from what he's singing on other records in the past and later on. That in a lot of sense. Yeah. I wish I never heard it. I would love to hear it.
So that's your number 3. So as I said, my number 3 is as I said, another one of my tracks, and I think I preferred the remix version, not the remix as much as, but it's like a 12-inch mix of this one. I think Aaron was singing at his utmost. I mean, the backstory that this track comes out when they break up, Let's Stay Together, with Tammy Lucas singing in the background as well. But if you hear it's just the drum programming on that particular track. And there's a version that has Teddy and Damien rapping, which is good, but it's not as good as just the straight up Aaron singing and just the same drum programming throughout it. It's just Let's Stay Together. I just love the whole thing with Tammy just singing at the background, and it's depressing because that's the song they came out with the track and then they broke up. But I love the track. I love the production. I love the as I said, it is a breakup song, but it's one of my favorite Teddy productions that I keep playing even to now. That especially that remix, extended mix version.
Well, you could say it was depressing because when they that was the last single release off the Future album, and then the news came out that they were breaking up. So it was it was sad. It was devastating.
Yeah. So think about is that when you look at the record, that album, right? That's a dope record, and Aaron, that's probably also, behind Rescue Me's best vocal performance for me as well. But it's a testament to the durability. Comes out, it drops around like October 1990. So in October 1990, Get With You, obviously, and Do Me Right are coming out like around that time, and then they roll into like Let's Chill, and then they roll into what's Dog Me Out.
Dog Me Out.
And then think about it is that Let's Stay Together comes out in 92. That Future album has a lot of durability to it, even though it only went platinum. The album had a lot of durability, and I think that put Guy in the mix of the first record came out in 88. So I think that it's the umbrella of being a 90s group, and even though Josie and those records, man, Let's Stay Together was really that's a good choice. Good choice.
Okay. So Stevie, number 2. Teddy, long gone.
Tied 3 tracks together by this artist. When I first heard the first one, I wasn't sure about it at the time. And then I think about a couple of years later, I realized it was an amazing record. And it's just, the video is just an incredible moment in time. But I'm talking about My Prerogative, Bobby Brown, is at number 2. And I've tied that with the other Teddy Riley track on the Don't Be Cruel album, I'll Be Good to You, which I wish it had been a single. I love that record so much. And I've tied it with your favourite as well, Namdi, because it is the best track off the Bobby album. One More Chance. Or is it One More Night?
Tying. You're just tying.
I think they, for me, are the best Teddy productions on Mr. Bobby Brown, without doubt.
So that's your number 2.
It's just, it's a classic. It is a classic New Jack Swing track, And at the time, I wasn't sure because it was such a new sound. But I'll Be Good to You. I keep seeing that clip. That clip where he goes, is it the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air or some other sitcom show?
227.
Right, and he comes in and he does that dance.
And a clap.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I love it. I've just watched it a million times. But it's like you compare that Bobby in that clip to the Bobby that ended up on the Bobby album. It's like, what happened? Where's that guy gone? Because that guy is like just, he's second to Michael Jackson. It's just that guy there is just like he's got everything, star quality, the moves, the song. He's got everything.
Yeah. He was right. He was definitely the prince.
Today's generation, right? Have they got a Bobby Brown? You could say it's Chris Brown, but have they got a Bobby Brown?
Really, I don't know. I don't know how people talk about Chris Brown like Brown. I think Usher was as close as you can because he's got the longevity, but not even.
I'm talking about our daughters, our sons and daughters. Who is our sons and daughters? What have they got now in terms of like superstardom? Artist who's a superstar. Chris Brown is he's a bit older now. He's a bit older, isn't he? He's 20 years. He'd come out 20 years ago, in the early 2000s. I'm like, now this. What have these? What have the 17, 18-year-olds got now as a superstar?
I'm gonna tell you something, man. There's a video out there, and they got these kids, and these kids got to be 7 years old at least, right? Some sort of party, and they're singing this Chris Brown record, they don't word for word, and the dancing. I mean, when you look at them do this, really be shot. I haven't seen the video, but I'll tell you this: Chris Lee, he's this era. Anything after that, you don't hold dancing, singing, and all that. It's not necessarily there anymore. You're right, grandkids have, and there's nobody. So I'll say this: is that he ate in New Orleans, and he did the Bobby Brown set, and he killed it, man. Doing make me wanna 97, 98. He's doing he's doing Roni, and I think he's doing like my Paraka.
Who are you talking about here? Who are you talking about? Usher. Well, again, he's from our generation, Usher. Early 90s. He come out in 94.
Right.
93.
Think about it. Usher is 15 years younger. He's 15 years younger than Bobby Brown. Well, I'll take that back. He's 10 years younger than Bobby Brown. When you look at that, it's just, but you know, like I said, like you said, there's nobody like our grandkids. It could possibly be a Chris Brown or Usher, you know, Chris Brown, because my kids will probably be 30 years old right now.
Yeah.
Maybe
they
30, 25.
They've not got a Michael Jackson. The closest thing they've got to Whitney is probably Adele. And I'm not even, Adele ain't coming close to Whitney for me.
No.
Or Bobby Brown. You could say Drake, but Drake, he can't sing. Drake can't sing. I'm sorry.
No, that's really important is that on the Bobby Brown side, it's a difference between the Bobby from the Maestro, like when he did the Bobby album, because if you look at Bobby's visual presentation, now to the curve, he's following the leader, where now you got 50 million dancers, and he's not really dancing doing in 80, in 88, 89 period. So I'm with you there.
Okay, so what we just so what you just gave your number two. Sel, did you give your number two?
Yeah.
Okay, my number two is going to be, that's my number two, and the reason why I had my prerogative ranked that high. I listen to Don't Be Cruel a lot more than my is the song that kind of really solidified Bobby's image, how they're singing the record. And there's a lot of different stories in the lyrics, because there's a lot. Aaron is there. I saw a video where a cat, these rap group, Nice and Smooth, he said that he was in the apartment with Teddy and Bobby, and he wrote some lyrics because he used to be down with Bobby, you know, and during the, you know, so there's a lot of different stories surrounding that record, but I love it. Because it solidifies his image as an artist. It's a tough me. That's the first record that epitomizes the R&B later on with the teams and everybody like that. That's the jump off point. Ground vocals where you got Aaron, you got Big Bub, you got Bernard backgrounds of that record. Just really, really, really dope. It's my number two.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, I never got into my prerogative as much as as I said. Don't Be Cruel to me is I think that's from that album my favorite track from Bobby on that album. I just loved that. I think there was a statement in my prerogative that really shook people up. You know, it was one of those like Beyonce's Single Lady. It was an anthem that people like, you know, well, this guy's, you know, Michael Jackson's bad. It just felt like a big thing. But as I said, I preferred my prerogative. I'm sorry, Don't Be Cruel. But I think, yeah, it's, you know, it was, you know, it was the track that took Bobby to the next level. If he didn't have my prerogative, he probably would have just been, you know, 2-3 million. That track just blew up for him. So, yeah. But also, it was, you know, the Gritty, the launch of Teddy, and introducing us to, wow, this Teddy is just changing sound and changing music. Okay, my number two. Go ahead.
I got one last thing. In my prerogative, in certain ways, it overshadowed everything else that was on that album, with the exception of the remix. My prerogative. There's people probably out there who think that My Prerogative Cool album could have been produced by Teddy, because that song really overshadowed everything on that record, you know.
Mm.
Even though it's
Yeah.
great song on that record. But go ahead, what you were saying? Go ahead.
No, no, no. I was. Yeah. No. If you finish, that's fine. Because I was gonna. Yeah. Um. Yeah. I mean, as I said, there's a lot of. We've not really heard the truth about album, that track, um, because Big Bob is singing at the back with Aaron. You know, Aaron had some writing credits in there. Gene to try to take everything. Um, Timmy mentioned that actually when they're in their early days, Teddy had the track and he was going to write towards it, but then when the whole breakup happened, he still had it. So and then but he didn't write to My Prerogative, but he said it was in there. It was one of the things that Teddy presented, like, hey, here's another track I'm working on. So, but everyone, it's hopefully one day everyone could be in a room and who was involved with that to be able to share the real story.
You've got to remember also from the Bobby Brown story how much pressure he was under. Because let's face it, that debut, he left New Edition, the King of Stage album didn't exactly take off, so it was probably his last chance saloon for MCA, and he goes in and he gives them My Prerogative. That is just incredible to go from King of Stage and to My Prerogative, to have the bravery to go, you know what, I don't want that sound anymore, I want something new, and goes in the studio with Teddy and just knocks that out. It's just, anyway, let's get to number one.
No, I haven't got my number two though. My number two is from I think it's my all-time favorite album, Something Just Ain't Right. Oh goodness!
I thought Bobby was your all-time favorite album.
I think no. I think Make It Last Forever, because it is. Teddy did 7 out of the 8 tracks. And
no, you change every podcast. You always tell us that Bobby's your favorite album.
What's going on now? It fits between the two, but because they're
tell him.
Yeah, but I mean, the reason why I love Something Just Ain't Right.
Every week telling us that Bobby's his favorite album.
No, I know the Bobby album is one of my favorite, but the Make It Last Forever album has always been in my arsenal. But think about how Something Just Ain't Right starts. It's the first track on the Make It Last Forever album, and Teddy said that he had to chop up. He did the keyboards once, and then he had to chop it up and then continue with the stuff because his hands couldn't reach across. But I just loved the whole how Teddy plays the keys on that, and his old keyboards in that whole thing. It is just the most. It's a beautiful track. It just doesn't. I don't know how many people really love it, but for me, that is one of my. Well, it's number 2 on my list of Teddy production. But yeah, Something Just Ain't Right.
How many sweat tracks have we had so far in your top 10?
No, I mean the other one was Make It Last Forever. Yeah, that was the other track there. I could have put in Right and the Wrong Way. That made my top. That was like my top 20, but. Yeah, Something Just Ain't Right was always going to be my number 2. I mean, it's because, but the track before that. But yeah, so Something Just Ain't Right. So we've come down to. I mean, this is our longest one. That. Thinking about what we had over the last couple of weeks. This is has taken us longer than LA and Babyface and Jimmy and Terry. So it's been a tougher one. But before we get to your number 1, Stevie. You're going to count down?
Are we counting down from 10 or 20?
Well, it's yeah. I mean, what will make your top 20 then?
I'll count down from 20. I'll mention my honourable mentions as well. It's a bit of a long one, this. But anyway, these are the ones in my top 20. I got Father 69. I won't go into them all. Number 19, I got Big Daddy Kane, I Get the Job Done from 1989. Yeah. Number 18, I got the Jacksons, She from 89.
That's good.
Number 17, I picked Abstract. I tied Right and Hype with Bugging Over You. Number 16, I got New Kids on the Block, or NKTOB, with Girls and Never Let You Go.
Yes.
Number 15, they don't get talked about much, but Deja, I tied More and More with Time Is Running Out and Going Crazy. Number 14, I got James Ingram, It's Real. Number 13, I got I'll Be Sure, If I'm Not Your Lover, the album mix, because the remix was done by Roy Shamir and Al B. Number 12, I got Rex and Effects, New Jack Swing and Tell Me How You Feel. Number 11, I got, it's hard. How can I leave out Heavy D and the Boys out of my top 10? We Got Our Own Thing. And Is It Good to You? Number 11. So number 10 is Niobe, Can't Let Go. Number 9 is Zan, I Got Work to Do and Want to Be With You. Number 8, I got Blackstreet, Giving You All My Loving, Joy and Baby Be Mine. Number 7, I got Today, Girl, I Got My Eyes on You. Number 6, High Five, I Like the Way the Kissing Game. Number 5, Bubba, I Like Your Style. Number 4, got Keith Sweat and Jackie McGee, Make It Last Forever and Your Love Part 2. Number 3, Michael Jackson, Remember the Time, Can't Let Her Get Away. Number 2, Bobby Brown, My Prerogative, I'll Be Good to You. One More, is it One More Night or One More Chance? You know what, I'll leave my honourable mentions to later. But number 1, come on, it's obvious who's number 1. I've not even mentioned him yet. It's not the Rolling Stones, is it? It's not going to be the Rolling Stones, is it? You know, that terrible remix he did. Teddy, if you're watching, I'm sorry, but that was a terrible remix. But I've got Guy at number 1. Which tracks did I pick? How can you pick? We got Groove Me, we got Teddy's Jam, we got Spend the Night, we got I Like, we got Do Me Right, we got My Fantasy, we got Tell Me What You Like. How can I pick? But Guy's at number 1. It's just that's it. Piece of My Love, Goodbye. I can't pick one. How do you pick one?
So you had the whole Guy album.
How do you pick one? How did someone tell? Let's chill. How did someone tell me how you pick? I can't. Guy I Like has probably amazingly crossed over with the Gen Z generation over on social media, and rightly so. And rightly so, with all them reams and memes and whatever they are, you know. So, but I wrote I Like, Spend the Night, and I also wrote Tell Me What You Like because of my memories, my club going memories of 1995, and having a dance, going out every week on a Saturday, having a dance, you know,
having a boogie.
Memories. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it for me. We'll go to who's next,
Sheldon,
number 1.
You want to
hear mine, okay? Bill, and Love Come Down. Those are the ties.
Hold on, start again. You missed that. Start again.
Okay, so number 20 is going to be James Ingram, It's Real, tied with. Okay, number 19, tied. Thomas Running Out, or More, and Made to Be Together by Deja. 18 is going. We Got Our Own Thing. 17 by Heavy D. 17 is going to be Kim Just Got Paid. 16 is going to be Him or Me. 15 is Around to the End of Time. 40, Two Can Play That Game. 13 is going to be 12 is going to be Abstract. You Bring the Party. I Bring the Fun.
No, please, no.
I love that. I love that record.
No, it's a terrible record. Terrible record.
I would have gone for you got
Please,
me bugging on number. I'm looking for number 1. Go ahead, though, Sheldon.
12 is. I know you beat me up, Stevie. 12 is going to be Tammy Lucas. Is It Good to You? And 11 is going to be the Guy record. You Can Call Me Crazy. All right.
Okay.
Brilliant record. Amazing record.
10 takes Rex in Effect, New Jack Swing. 8 is going to be Kumo D. 7 is Michael Jackson, Remember the Time. 6 is going to be Sweat. 5 is Riding the Wrong Way, Keep Sweat. 4 is Something Ain't Right, Keep Sweat. It's Rescue Me by Guy. Number 2 is My Prerogative. And my number, and like somebody said, this record never ages. James Brown's Funky President. Hear that funky. And then it also samples the Mohawks. And you hear it throughout the record with the keyboard riff or whatever that is in it, but it's a loop of the Mohawks Champ. And that record is Groove Time. The record never ages.
What track?
Number 1, Groove Me.
Yeah. Oh, Groove Me.
Groove Me, Guy.
Groove Me. Yeah. Okay.
So when I heard the record, it was like, wow, how was he playing all the instruments? And I didn't realize a lot of stuff that he was in addition to the drum beats, but I just love that record, man. That's my all-time record. I play that week, man.
Okay.
To this
To this day, twice on a Sundays.
twice.
Okay.
Twice on a Sundays.
It takes me back. It takes me back to my club days. You know, a little move incorporated in the club with the little shoulder situation that Teddy used to do with the keyboard signature dance move back in the days. You know,
and Nandi, you only had what, number 7? Number 7 is what we were saying now.
No, my Groove Me was number 7.
Deary me, man.
Yeah, Groove Me was number 7.
Sheldon, what is that abstract record doing at number what is it? Number 17.
Okay, the reason why I like that record is I like the samples that he used on the record. I love the samples that he used on the record. It was just really dope. It was almost in the same Kumo D's They Want Money. It was kind of like similar to that, but I love the samples and the drum. Longer records that are on there, maybe Riding Hype and a couple other
I just thought it was really lazy. It just sounded like a lazy, like it was the last track on the CD, and it felt like they had to put something on there.
Yeah,
and they just threw that on there. Just threw that on there at the end to fill up the CD.
Yeah.
I love the programming. Love it. But I'm with you. That's probably why. I forgot one of my other honorable mentions. I'm gonna tie it with "Don't Take My Mind on the Trip." Boy George.
Okay, somebody mentioned it last. Okay.
Tied with Found Another Guy. That's it. I'm done. All right.
Okay.
I think I know what Nandi's number 1 is. I'm not obviously not going to say, but I think I know what it is.
So I'm going to go with for my top 20. So I'm going to go my top 20. So I had New Jack City. Really loved the funky from the New Jack City. I loved Happy Home. I know that. Yeah, I loved Happy Home. I put that at number 19.
No,
Him or Me. Him and Me at number 18.
That's your Sheldon's choice there. That's your no.
It's
all the black tracks. You picked Happy Home.
Yeah, I loved Happy Home. No, sorry. No, I said Happy Home. Tonight's the Night. I don't know what I was talking about.
Oh, that's more like it.
Yeah, it's Tonight's the Night. I can't. Yes, Tonight's the Night. It's Time at number 17. Settle Down.
Winans.
Yeah,
slow down a bit. Slow down.
Number 16 from Bob's Timeless album, Settle Down. Can
nice
I
track.
settle down with you? Yeah. Number 15, I Go to Work from Kumo D. 14, My Way, Big Bubs from the Timeless album. I just love that production there. 13, actually from the Dangerous album, as much as I loved She Drives Me Wild and all the stuff, I actually loved the Dangerous, the beats, the program, the drums of Dangerous. So that made my number 13. Number 12. Now that we found love, just the just what Teddy did for Heavy. That was a big crossover, big international hit. With that, number 11.
It's like a dance.
Pardon?
Dance with a bit of reggae.
Yeah,
with
with the whole dance, and it was it probably Heavy back to his roots being Jamaican. The reason why Heaven Can't Wait, which is number 11, wasn't higher, is because when I interviewed I can't remember. Oh, Lord, his name escapes me. The producer, the original producer of the track, his name has just escaped me. He talked about actually had the sound of it, and then when he took it to Teddy, Teddy added some other stuff, and they got it to Michael. So I couldn't give Teddy that, so that's why it would have been higher. But my number 10, going back to my list, my number 10 was I Like His Style, Big Bub. Number 9 was Do the Right Thing, Redhead Kingpin. Number 8 was Before I Let You Go, Blackstreet. Number 7 was Groove Me. Number 6 was Make It Last Forever. Number 5 is Goodbye Love from Guy. Number 4 was Don't Leave Me from The Winans. Number 3, Let's Stay Together by Guy. Number 2, Something Just Ain't Right. And my number 1 is a song that actually makes my all-time top 5 songs. So not just a Teddy song, but just my all-time top song. I added 1 or 2 of the songs into this, but if I'm thinking about one of my favorite Teddy production, it's one of the songs where people who were other song producers, when they listen to it, she put the drum beats up. When they listen to it, they also acknowledge that, okay, this is definitely one of those songs that actually was just Teddy on another level. And that is One More Night from the Bobby album. It's
no surprise there, eh?
I'd love. In fact, Mary Brown, who sang the background of that, and she was part of Abstract and part of Mary and Marsha, is coming on the show in a couple of weeks, and we're going to talk about that and talk about her songwriting, talk about being in production and stuff. But I just love One More Night. It's just it's 6.5 minutes. It's just a long track. And I always used to think if they would made it a single, it would have been really hard to edit it down to 3 minutes for radio. Totally. Yeah, it was just it's hard to.
That record is a dope. And just to let one part that there's Mary singing One More Night, that part that from a British group called 52nd Street. That's one. It came out like so that comes from that record Street, and when we get done, I have to see the record, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and even though it didn't come out as a single, there are different remixes that came out, and you should listen to the background changes and stuff like that. But I also added another track I love of the Bobby album, To the End of Time. I love the Teddy doing his production there. Dimitri Ship, who co-produced that with Teddy, he mentioned that he came up with the idea and brought it to Teddy, and then Teddy just took it to the level and did the keyboards and the stuff on there. Oh yeah, that's why I love the Bobby album. Even though Make It Last Forever, I think. It's because 8 songs. You can't go wrong with an album that just has 8 songs. I think the Bobby album just had too many other fillers. That's I only listened to the 7 Bobby Brown albums as Teddy productions on that album. But Till the End of Time and One More Night, are definitely my all-time favorite Teddy productions. Who knows? He may come up with something new that will take that away, but. I didn't want to put in. We didn't want to do remixes because we're going to do Teddy remixes next week. We got a special guest joining us, Idris Mohammed from the group ARB. Is it ARB or Arab? ARB. Yeah. So Idris is going to join us live, and we're going to go for our top 10 Teddy Riley remixes. And so that would be something that a lot of people put in Jane Child and SWV, and it's going to be interesting when we go through that to see what other remixes that he didn't produce but did the remix. So that's ARB. So he's coming on to complete that game. There was so many tracks on that, but so that was it. So guys, this has been our longest episode.
Do we have any honourable mentions before we go? Any honourable mentions that didn't make your top 20s? I did write a few down. I don't know if we've got time to mention them.
Yeah, like Method Man, Party and Bullshit, and Cisco, Can I Live?
Not for me, man. Not for me.
Just kidding.
Not for me,
man. Or Hammer, I think Colin's favorite was Pumps to the Bump. And,
yeah, that was a good record. That was a good record.
It was a good one.
What about these then? B-Fats from 80s.
The one, yeah.
What about the Girls, Wishing You Were Here? I thought Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. I'm looking for the one was a brilliant production with the vocals in it.
Want to be with you.
Yeah. I got 911 and Queen Pen in a magazine. I got Keith KB Ball, Live Into the Future from the Blank Man soundtrack. Very unsung, but a brilliant production. Terrell, Distant Lover. A Men of Vision album. That album was a killer album. Night and Day, Show Me the Way to Go.
No, the one I liked from the Men in Black was
Men of Vision.
Tell me what you like.
Men of Vision. No, it was they had a ballad. Well, they had mostly ballads, but I can't remember it. Okay, I'll think of it. But if I had honorary mentions, would be the Teddy's Jam 2. It just narrowly missed out. I think that was his. I think to me that was his best Teddy's Jam. Teddy's Jam 2.
Okay.
I love my cutie on Rex and Effect. I think I love just tell me what you're doing. The one with Tammy.
Yeah.
On there.
Tell me how you feel.
Just tell me how you feel. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. I like the way you work. And Physical Thing from the Blackstreet album. The first Blackstreet album. I didn't really have too many that I liked of the Another Level album. That I didn't really. There wasn't much from that, but yeah. People
Good Loving.
I
like
that from the Another Level album. Good Loving.
Okay,
I got one honorable mention, and that's it. Is Teddy in 20 Cats? There was their R&B band called it's a band. They do dance with you. Bad Rabbits. 2014.
Oh yeah. I remember that. That was a good one.
Yeah, that update. He's sampling. He's doing the whole coda thing. So that's my honorable mention. I was excited when I heard it.
No Diggity. Someone mentioned, No Diggity, probably his most well-known track, hasn't made any of our top 20s tonight.
It's strange. I think because it just became
too many times. Maybe we've heard it too many times. I don't.
I think it's just because we heard it too many times. Yeah. So Mary from Eminem is going to be a guest coming up soon. I mean, So can't wait to bring her on. I think there's just so many stuff that Teddy has done, and we have different genres. So when we talk about LA and Babyface, we talk about Teddy, pre-1990 with the whole GR, when he was just turning out tracks, and then we had him just after GR production, and then we had him just up to 96, when he really came out with albums. But I think some of the stuff, but when we did our remixes, I mean, it's hard because when you look at somebody Chimpy just put Jay-Z City's Mind, but then you heard that it was actually Trackmasters that did the track, and he almost did a remix production of it. So it's hard to really credit it as his. But anyway, we'll see. But there's just so much, Teddy's he's just the he's just just as I said, my favorite and stuff. Colin said your love from Blackstreet. Actually, that was Mucho that actually did the production of that one with Sauce Money. Your love from that the Finally album. Okay, so guys, just as we wrap up, but that's the Stand By Me by LL. That's Teddy did the with Tammy. Did they do it? Was it the original track or the remix? Yeah, they did the remix. Yeah, they did the remix of that. So Tammy did the she was singing in the background of that. So next week, guys, as you mentioned, it's the remixes. But in final words, I mean, Stevie and Sheldon, just it's been our longest episode in a while, which is a surprise. But any final words?
Go on, Sheldon.
Great episode, and I just love the and discuss some of these tracks. Some of them go back, almost 80, almost over 35 years old. They're creeping up on and 40 years old. So it's a testament to the work that Teddy put in. With this, what all I have.
Yeah. What about yourself, Stevie?
Just a big thanks to all the viewers tonight. It's, the comments flying in has been incredible. The contribution from everyone watching this evening has been absolute. So thank you so much for. I say every week, you tune in every week. You could be doing anything else. You could be watching anything else, doing anything else. You could be getting it on with your missus. You could be doing all sorts of things on a Sunday night, but you're here with us. And from the bottom of my heart, I really appreciate it. I've got to take time to all the viewers. And apart from Sheldon Shockers, because we've had a few in his top 20, it's been a great episode. You know what I mean? It's been a great episode.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, it is funny because people are asking about, that when I won't put the show and stuff like that. And, as I said, we didn't put Rum Shaker and it wasn't really about his biggest hits, but it was about favorites. So you could put a lot of hits, but no, we didn't put Just Got Paid as big as that's one of his biggest tracks. But it was like, yeah, is it my favorite Teddy production? It's a big hit. So if you kind of figure out that, and did anyone put Less Chill? Technically, not really. I mean,
Just Got Paid to be in my top 10. Never Want to Hear Again. Top 10.
So they were big tracks.
If you insert something else, it's like such a hard thing, man. A lot of great songs, man. This guy's got like 39, 40 years of records, man.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think one of the ones that I wanted to say was Men of Vision was Personal. The title track of the album Personal. I just love the slow production in that. But it is so many things, so many tracks. But we would definitely, guys, thank you for as always joining in and supporting us. Next week, we had to move the Dallas Austin stuff because Idris was coming in. Because, man, the last time Idris joined us, he was just.
I had Dallas Austin on the phone last week. He was not happy about that.
Happy about that, yeah. But Idris Idris was in the GR camp when Teddy was banging a lot of these tracks out. So there's a lot of stuff he's got to say when we talk about the remix and stuff. So that's why we wanted to push him in. Then we're not on the 11th because it's Super Bowl Sunday, but we're going to be back on the 18th to do our top 10 favorite Usher tracks. And that's because
Usher's the Super Bowl and ask him to move it to do it on a Monday.
We could have moved the Super Bowl on a Monday, but so we're going to do the Super Bowl. Yeah,
so we can do our live on the Sunday evening.
So we're going to reflect on Usher's Super Bowl performance and then give our top 10 favorite Usher tracks So that's going to be on the 18th after Super Bowl Sunday.
So we're missing Valentine's Day out. We're not doing a Valentine's special then.
We could we could see how we can fit things in, but that's
We'll
the
get our
schedule.
top 10 slow jams out. Top 10 slow jams for Valentine's.
Yeah, I mean, we yeah, as I said, there's we've got a lot. We haven't even done our top 10 for Michael. Did we do Michael Jackson?
Listen, we've got all year to spread this out. We've got all
so you
year
can
to
see
get all the top 10. We've got plenty of weeks to come.
Yeah, we've got a lot to do, but guys, we definitely want to thank you for joining in. As I said, next week, Idris Muhammad. If anyone's saying who is he, yep, he was in. Colin's gonna be watching from Dubai. Basic Black, Nothing But a Party. He was rapping on that. He was part of GR Production, so he has a lot. And so it'll be great for you guys to ask questions about, what it was like with Gene and stuff like that. But also, as I said, we're going to be doing our top 10 favorite Teddy Riley remixes. So a lot of Jane Child, I'm sure it'll make a lot of our hopefully it'll make our top 10. But yeah, so from Stevie, from Sheldon, and myself, thank you guys. It makes a massive difference when you guys are in. And sorry for it being a little bit too long today, but tune in next week with Idris, and we'll see you next week then. Bye, guys.